Morning, everybody. It's a rainy Saturday. Don't get those very often anymore. Used to do a lot of rainy Saturday posts and whatnot. Just hadn't rained in a while. This morning I'm out here cleaning the shop up. I've done a lot of injectors the last couple of days and had some problems that we've run across and fix that stuff up. But I haven't talked much about injectors and what we're doing, and I kind of want to just show guys what's inside one of these common rail injectors, because it is it's not for the meek. There's a lot going on here. What we have laid out in front of us is a 6.7 Cummins common rail injector. Most of these parts are in order. 3/4 of the parts, I can't tell you exactly what the names of them are. There's a lot going on, all these different shims, all these different springs that we own. And every one of these components has to be right and talking to the component right beside it to get it where we can pass, or on this test sheet, fail all these tests. And the way our test machine is set up, we run everything to OEM specs and you compare plus or minus to that. So we've got a lot of test numbers that we try to hit on there, not just trying to do overall flow and returns or whatnot. So we get a lot of guys that are sending us injectors to repair. We can rebuild, but at this point in time, I'm very, very cautious about rebuilding. I don't want to over-promise and under-deliver on guys. So we are kind of disassembling, cleaning up, testing out, or replacing for the most part at this time. I can rebuild. I have access to all these parts. I just haven't perfected the craft, if you will, on the rebuilding side. It'll happen. Just walk before you run type of deal. But something I wanted to talk about here and discuss is fuel quality. So since we've gotten into this, fuel quality is a very real thing. And that's why your big name injector guys clearly state, we do not warranty contaminated fuel. Absolutely, I get it now. And you see quite a bit of that. What this stuff does, I want to show you how small these parts are. All right, so this is my big pin. This little shim right here is tiny, and you can lose them super easy. That shim is what we use to adjust your inflow, your wide open throttle flow numbers. And we can go up and down. These are to the 0.001 of a millimeter is what we adjust with, all right? This part of the injector can handle, fuel quality that's not perfect. The nozzles are very small because we're operating at some higher pressures, but, that's a nozzle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Where things get different and away from like the mechanical world where you can kind of accidentally feed it rocks and stuff and it'll live, is this side of the injector. This side is tiny. The orifices in here are tiny, and if we get any type of debris in here, we now have like hydraulic venting issues where the injector will open, but it now can't close like it's supposed to. So you hang open and close. So your fuel delivery can get wonky. Remember, right here is the adjustment shim for flow. Right here is a seat for the ball seat on the top of the control valve, which is this dude right here. Okay? This is where the ball sits, and there's a vent on the side. Here, right at the end of the pin, is the ball. That ball is tiny. Just the pressure of my finger can pick that dude up, and if you have diesel fuel on you, it just runs away from you. It is a very, very little BB. It's so little you can't hear it. I can barely pick it up. It's stuck under my fingernail now. Okay? Tiny. That BB rides in that seat. Okay? Then the top goes on top of it. And then you have the rest of the shim stack, which is touched by that right here on the top. Your solenoid will be where my pin is. When you start getting debris in here, there is a hole right here that you're not going to be able to see. It is tiny, and I struggle seeing it with a bunch of lights, but there is a hole right there. It is smaller than that hole. This particular control valve is all the way plugged. It's got a piece of something in it that I cannot get out, and this injector had massive volume returns. Like an injector that was looking for like 200 cc's of max flow had nearly 500 cc's of return. It was like the injector was just hung wide open. Truck was running terrible. And what it was is we had debris in here, replaced the control valve, and poof, magically the injector works good again. When you open up the fuel system on a common rail setup, when you get in there and you're putting new connector tubes or injectors or whatever, put new lines on it, or your CP3 replacement, put a stroker on it, when you're playing around with a common rail, please make sure that it's all clean. Do not get the blowgun out when fuel system parts are open. Brake clean it, engine degrease it, give it a good old blow job while it's connected, and then when everything is clean, that is when you leave that stuff alone. You do not want to be getting debris in any of your fuel system. The littlest of parts can screw up a perfect set of injectors, and it is very frustrating, and it's almost never a cheap fix. Can we fix it? Absolutely. You can fix it, but nothing in this world is free. Somebody's got to sit down and diagnose it. We got to replace parts as necessary. Did you run enough debris through it that we've now messed up nozzles? I had a set yesterday that this is what happened, and it really messed up 3 of the 6 nozzles. Like I just could not get flow back to them, and ultimately had to replace them. Fuel quality is just so important with this common rail stuff. So as you're piddling around, don't be scared to change your injectors or put new tubes on it or put a CP3 on it. Get in there, change some parts. But I really want to stress how meticulous you need to be with being clean. And dirty old diesel mechanics typically are pretty dirty, this guy included. So just make sure you're doing your due diligence to keep the dirt, the debris, tiny little bits of debris. I mean, that is tiny, and we're talking about stuff that is like fractions of the size of a piece of sand that is causing this failure. I mean, and this particular control valve here, like, you're stuck, engine shut off. If you keep running it, you're gonna kill it. So fuel quality is important, and I just want to show guys the insides of one of these injectors. There's a lot to it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of components. We continue to grow and evolve and get better at what we're doing. Hopefully we can continue to bring you some cool parts and not a gajillion dollars, just to give guys an alternative to build on your injectors, and keep guys on the road and building horsepower and having fun, and not making this where you got to take a mortgage out on your house. But you go messing stuff up and running crummy fuel through it, and then all of a sudden your economy priced injectors turned into another economy priced set of injectors, and now all of a sudden the world's getting expensive. So do your due diligence on your side, guys, and keep your hands clean, your fuel systems clean, and carry on. Happy Saturday.